Okay, I sent everyone their assessment, right, of the presentation. So please check your email. If you have any questions, write me back an email. Detailed response. What I want to do now is, because today, this is our last 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So, my spicy life recipe. Very fast. How you make a spicy life. This is it. Okay? Follow your dreams. I say this all the time. People don't believe me. You're 22. You're 23 years old. You know, you can always turn around. You can always do a U-turn. You can always do anything. Actually, you can do anything you want. If you're stuck in a major you don't like, change it. I gave the example to my students. I graduated in Russian literature. I was working my master's in Russian literature. I was in my 2nd year of my master's. I said, what am I doing in this? You know, it finally occurred to me that it wasn't really what I wanted to do with my life. So, if you want to be a makeup person, do it. Follow your dreams. Right? Follow your dreams. And, you know, I think there's all kinds of paths, all kinds of possibilities. One thing I like about the KL cityscape is I look at a city like that, in Singapore as well, and I say, look at all the dreams that have been created there. You know, I mean, the Twin Towers, that was a dream. Somebody's dream, and they did it. Right? They created that amazing thing. So I think that all of us have our dreams, and I think the more people that follow dreams, the better. You know, it's nice if we can all follow our dreams. Plant and nurture. Plant and nurture. She plants and nurtures. What does that mean? What do you think? Plant and nurture. What does that mean?
Grow plants.
In the context of life. Huh?
Grow more plants?
Yeah, I wouldn't say just grow more plants. I think, that concept, grow more plants is cool too. For me, the main point is anything that you put anything that you any seed that you plant is going to show some sort of product, right? And if you nurture it, you know, today it might not pay off. You know, there may not be an immediate payoff, but if you put effort and time and kind of tender loving care into it, all kinds of interesting things can grow. You know, and I think it's very important for us to nurture. You know, nurture our ideas, nurture yourself. You know, do what's good for you. Invest in yourself in a sense. You know, kind of grow yourself. And I think this is important for everyone. Embrace differences. What does that mean? What does that mean? Embrace differences. Anybody? Embrace differences. Embrace differences.
Equality.
Pardon?
Equality.
Well, what do you mean by that?
As in, you know, accept, adapt.
I think that's it. Accept, adapt. I think that, you know, actually, our differences are only skin deep, in a sense. You know what I mean? You go to Iceland, or you go to Russia, or you go to South America, you go anywhere in the world, there's there's so many universals that we share with each other. You know, I'm from a very small town in southern Ohio, and I feel very at ease with you, you know? And I've heard students, I had a student in my EG 1471 class tell me this week, she doesn't want to leave Singapore, ever. I said, never, not even travel or anything? She said, no, this is the only place I want to be. I said, it'd be nice just to go out and check it out. No. She looked terrified, you know. I think she's actually believed all the propaganda, you know. Like the rest of the world's horrible, right? You know? And I just think it's good, you know, you just kind of expand your mind by embracing differences, trying new things, new food. I remember before I went to Europe, my uncle said, I was at Thanksgiving dinner, and my uncle said, you're moving to Europe? This is the best damn country in the world. Why would you want to go to Europe? And that's exactly what he said. I said, you know, how do you answer? You can't even answer that question, right? Or that statement. The best damn country in the world. I think you should go out and check it out. You know, embrace differences. Negotiate. Life is filled with negotiation. This is my daughter on the right, Billy, and my wife, Karen, on the left. And they're negotiating with these Laotian girls. And I think that life is negotiating. You know, you have to negotiate constantly. Constantly giving and taking. And oftentimes we want our own way, right? I want my own way. I don't want to negotiate. I mean, that's why actually the process of going through that exam, I think, is very important. I think it's valid. That, for me, is an educational experience. I don't care about the points. You know, I mean, I know the points are important, but negotiating those answers is the educational experience. Forgive and forget. Why? Because we get pissed off. right? People get angry. People get upset because we don't negotiate well. I think this is very important. Forgive and forget. My grandfather, my grandmother was unlivable. I mean, I never heard a woman bitch as much as she, but she was one of those people that was always bitching. And you know, you just kind of like water off a duck's back, right? And I asked him, what's the secret? He says, forgive and forget. You know, it's not, don't get caught up in it. You know, it's not worth it. And I think you live in a more healthy fashion if you forgive and forget. If you can do that with people. Sean-san, do you forgive and forget all her trespasses? I'm sure you do. Be still and know. This is one of my favorite phrases. What does it mean?
It's taken from something.
In the song.
A verse.
But what does it mean? What does it actually mean?
I think to reflect.
Reflect. Yeah, I think I read recently, actually it was the guy who wrote Presentation Zen. In his book, Presentation Zen, he talks about how he finds so much inspiration outside of his office, getting away from the workplace, and that some of his best ideas come when he's riding on the train. He lives in Japan, and he's riding on the train. And I think this is very important too. You know, that you get away from your kind of routine and just go out and relax. Don't talk. Don't have people talking to you. Go sit under a tree. Stare at the stars. Right? I think reflection is part of it. And the part about knowing, you know, I think you actually start to develop an understanding that you can't necessarily find in a college classroom, certainly not in the BS 2007. Recall and return kindness. Here's my grandfather. My parents got married as teenagers. I was not illegitimate. They finally got married. My parents were like, my mother was 17, my father was 20 when I was born. And they had kids like bam, 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 really fast, five like that. And couldn't take care of them basically. I mean, they did as good a job as they possibly could. But my grandparents were my parents. So I lived with my grandparents. And my grandfather was so Mr. Mellow. Like I said, my grandmother was beautiful, but in her own way crazy, you know? And he was so mellow about it. Now, I've lived outside of the United States for 25 years, and I was very close to my grandfather, and I made a point of always reaching back, calling him. Every time I went to Ohio, I'd go out with him. He was in his 80s and 70s, and finally in his 90s before he died. I'd make a point, go pick him up in the car, drive around, talk to him, go out to dinner. And one thing that he said to me that was really amazing, he said, I have grandchildren living 10 miles from my house, and I don't see them as often as I see you. You know, so here I was living 8,000 miles away, and he felt that, you know, and I felt like it's not just a duty. It's not just a duty. Here's a man who gave so much of his life to his kids and his grandchildren. It's my responsibility. But more than that, it's a joy. It's a joy to give back, you know? So this whole idea of returning kindness, I think, you know, that's very important in life, and we don't do that enough. And of course, spreading the blessings, you know? And you guys are so blessed, you know? All of us are so incredibly blessed. The life that we lead, you know, the education that we can get, the fact that we live in a safe, clean environment. Go to Calcutta. You know, right? I mean, and that's just one example. Go to New York, for that matter. You know, I mean, there's so many people living lives that don't equal ours, and I really believe it's our responsibility. Here, it's a duty and it's a responsibility to spread the blessings, to spread the good. You know, I really believe that's important, and I think the world will benefit. And I think we build bridges in the process. I think you can actually build bridges. You know, we build bridges between people, between nations, you know, by spreading the good. You know, it's got to be a conscious effort. There are so many people out there who are consciously doing bad, and that's true. You know, let's have no illusions. There are people out there, and even people who think they're doing good. I mentioned the American president, who thinks he's doing good, you know, who are actually doing bad and screwing up entire societies, right? So I think there has to be kind of a positive counterbalance to that. So I think we actually have to build bridges. And I think it starts one-on-one. It starts one-on-one. It starts in your family. Build bridges in your family. It starts with your friends. You know, work out the problems. This is a professional communication course, but all communication comes down to one thing, right? One-on-one. It's you and me. You know, it's